You want to hear something insane? A computer solver has to use 20 advanced strategies to solve this puzzle, but I'll show you how to solve it in less than 15 minutes using one simple trick that works time and time again on extreme Sudokus. And with that, it's solving time. So with any extreme Sudoku, you want to start by looking for digit restrictions from 1 to 9 until you get stuck. So if you notice with these two ones and this one, there's only one place for 1 here in block 8. So you can mark it right there. Greetings, friend. I want to thank Sulfur for his amazing classic. He's absolutely brilliant at making puzzles that give a computer solver fits, but you can solve rather quickly if you know what to look for. I have solved hundreds of extreme Sudokus, and I'll show you how to spot the secret trick behind this puzzle so you finish it so fast you might feel like you did something illegal. But first, the question of the day. How long should it take to solve an extreme Sudoku? Should you spend hours on it, at least 30 minutes, or is it not about time at all, but the difficulty itself? Please, please, please share with me and help me grow the internet's best Sudoku community. I love hearing from you so much. I answer every comment. Now, let's continue with the ones. You notice with these two ones and this one, there's only 2 places for a 1 in block 2. I'm going to mark that, and you want to mark anytime a candidate is restricted to 2 possibilities in a block. This helps you find the restrictions in the puzzle and get you to solve quicker later on. With this one coming across and these 2 ones, 2 places for a 1 in block 3. Look at the 2s. There's nothing you can mark or solve right away. I'll come back to that. Same thing with the 3s. Let's move on to the 4s. With this 4 cutting across row 3, 2 places for a 4 in block 1. Since they're in the same column, they act as a pointing pair, which means a 4 can't be here or here because you put a 4 there, no place to put a 4 in block 1. It already can't be here because of this 4. And what does that do for this puzzle? With these 2 4s, now you can mark 4s in block 7. And then with these 4s, 4s in block 5 and in block 3 with these 4s and this 4, you can mark for 4s right there. No solves yet. Move on to the 5s. You might see that 2 places for a 5 in block 5. With this 5 cutting across, you have a pointing pair of 5s in block 9. You go with these 5s here in block 3. That's it with the 5s. Move on to the 6s. With these 2 6s and this 6. 6s are restricted to these 2 cells in block 7. That's all you can do with the 6s. Move on to the 7s. And you actually will get some solves here. With these 2 7s and this 7, you can solve for 7 in block 2. And then follow these 2 7s and this 7. Solve for 7 in block 8. And then with these 2 7s and this 7, 2 places for 7 in block 7. And then you might notice with these 2 7s and this 7, you can solve for 7 in block 6. And so with these 7s now, mark the 7s in block 4. Move on to the 8s. With these 2 8s and the 8 in row 2, 2 places for an 8 in block 3. And with these 8s, 2 places in block 4. Move on to the 9s. You'll see 2 places for a 9 in block 6. And with these 9s and this 9, 2 places in block 7. And that is it. We've made 3 solved cells, some marks to find all those restrictions. If you go through this again, you're not going to find anything extra using the basic strategies you can find in my free Sudoku solving guide. So the next step is to look for advanced strategies. And normally you have 2 choices of where to go next and what to do. But with extreme puzzles, I offer a 3rd choice. Your first choice is you can look at single candidate strategies. So you would mark all the places the 1s can go, the 2s all the way through the 9, and look for conjugate pairs, places where a candidate are restricted 2 spots. See if there's any advanced strategies with single candidates, like X-wings, skyscrapers, 2-string kites. You're not going to find any in this puzzle. The other option, second option, is to go and look at bi-value cells. I call them BVCs. And where to find this is to look where you see the greatest restrictions. Most of the BVCs are actually along row 5 here. So you see you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the row. So you need a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 9 there means that's a 7, 8. 8, 9, 6 means that's a 5, 7. Then you look right here. You got 7, 8, and a pointing pair of 5s. So that's a 6 and a 9. And 7, 8, 9 means this is a 5 or 6. That's the only thing that can be in those cells. Other place to look up here, this heavy house. You have 6 candidates filled out. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You need a 2, 3, 4. With this 4, it means that's a 2, 3. Same thing down here. And there's a lot of symmetry going on in this puzzle. You have to notice that, the way Sulfur made it. You need a 2, 3, 5 here. With the 5, this is going to be a 2, 3. And then there's just a few other BVCs. You look right here. This can't be a 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, or an 8. So that's a 3, 9 bi-value cell. You look in these two cells here. You get this 1, 2, 3, 7 in the block. And you got an 8, 9 outside. So with this 4, that's a 5, 6. And with this 5, this is a 4, 6. And those are all the bi-value cells you're going to find at this time. And so those are the first two options. If you look at the bi-value cells, they do not connect in a way where you can do any solves or advanced strategies using bi-value cells. So then you need to go to the third option, which I reserve for extreme puzzles. And now I'm about to share you my best tip for solving these very hard Sudokus. So this third option is, and this tip is, you need to look for setter's intent. What did Sulfur wants you to do and proceed and find in this puzzle? Sulfur wants you as a human to be able to solve this. He doesn't want you to go through 20 advanced strategies, which a computer would do. The bi-value cells, they represent one-step restrictions along with these marks. If you can just eliminate a candidate from one of these bi-value cells or eliminate one of these 5s, for example, you're going to be able to make a solve right away. It's the weakest part of the puzzle. So what is curious about this position? What did Sulfur want you to notice? And what needs to stand out to you are these two bi-value cells, the 2 and the 3. They're in corners related to this interesting setup of the candidates, that they're bunched up here in blocks 1 and 9. What cells do these two see? Well, they see this cell right here, which could be a 2, 3, or 9. And they see this cell right here, which could be a 2, 3, or an 8. And so then you have to ask yourself this question. Do these have any impact on each other? Are they related in any way? And the first question is, could they both be the same value? Could these both be 2s, for example? And so you'd see, if you made these 2s, what would happen? Well, what you'll notice is because of this 2, 2s can't be here because of that 2, can't be here because of this 2, this cell would be a 2, and I'll put it in blue. And with this 2 and this 2, now you'll notice that 2 can't be here because of that 2, can't be here because of this 2, and you end up with a 2 right there. And so, what's the big deal? Well, now look at column 5. Where can a 2 go? Can't be here because of this 2. Can't be there because of that 2. Can't be here because of this 2. Can't be here because of the 2 here, or here because of that 2. You have no place to put a 2 in column 5. You'd break the puzzle if both these were 2s. Maybe it's just the 2s. What happens if these are 3s? I think you're going to see roughly the same thing, because the 3s right here, it's going to have the same impact. You'll notice if both of these were 3s, this can't be a 3, this can't be a 3 already because of that 3, can't be a 3 here. So this would be a 3. And then because of this 3, no 3's there, or here because of this 3, that would be a 3. And then you end up with the same problem you have with the 2s. Where can a 3 go in column 5? Can't go here. Can't go here because of these 3's. Can't go here because of the 3 already there. Can't go there or there because of these 2 3's. You again break the puzzle. So what do you know? You know, by comparing these two cells, they can't be the same. They can't both be 2s or both be 3s. So what's the other option? One of these is a 2, and one of these is a 3. And so I'll put this in orange, kind of like the thumbnail. And so what you know now is you can eliminate a 2 and a 3 from any cell that sees both of these. This is amazing stuff. Easy for a human if you look through this and try to figure out the intent. A little bit harder for a computer solver. And the way you clue in is the interesting arrangement here, the 2 and the 3 right there, and the fact that these are 2, 3 bi-value cells. So what does that do for our puzzle? You eliminate the 2 and the 3 from right there. And you can eliminate the 2 and the 3 from right there. And if you're wondering if this is just guessing or if there's actually a name for this, this is a type of forcing chain. A forcing chain, highly advanced, extreme Sudoku strategy. And basically you go and you logically conclude that a digit can't be in certain cells. And then you can remove them. That's all it is. It's a little weird when you do these two. This is more of kind of like a free-form type style, but Sulfur has put these types of restrictions in puzzles before. I use coloring. I've also used the can these be the same to do some logical deductions and solve his puzzles. This is brilliant stuff. Now, you cannot relax. This is an extreme puzzle. So you got to see what's the impact on row, column, block to see how far now you can go. And I can remove these colors now, get back to solving. You know this now has to be an 8, and this has to be a 9. So let's see what you can do with the impact. Look in the column. Displace a 9 right there. You can solve this cell now for a 9. And if you look across here, and then with this 9, you got 2 places for a 9 right there. And with these 9s, 2 places for a 9 right there. 9s are in columns 4 and 6, and blocks 2 and 5. No 9s in column 5. So where can a 9 be in column 5? It's got to be down here in block 8. Because of this 9, you can solve this cell now for a 9. Displace this 9, solve this cell for a 9. Nice. Remember, we also solved this 8. What does that do? Well, it displaces the 8 right here. You can solve this for an 8, displacing that 7. And now with this 5, solve this for 6, solve that for 5. Okay, what else can we do with the 8s? With these two 8s, you know that we can do better. Look at these 8s. Solve this for an 8 now, and now with these two 8s, solve this cell for an 8, which displaces the 9, displaces that 4, and this 8 displaces the 5. You can solve all those cells very quickly. This is great. You know, when a setter makes a truly wonderful puzzle, like Sulfur did, you get rewards when you find the intended logic and the intended strategy. And so with these 8s, 8s can be in one of those spots right there. Okay, now let's look more at the impact here. Let's check out the 5s. With this 5 right there, this can't be a 5 anymore. So this has to be a 5, displacing that 1. You displace a 1 from right here and solve this for a 1. This is why you mark those restrictions, because now you can quickly go and solve every place where you've made those marks. And we got all the 1s now solved in the puzzle. Let's look at column 6. You have a 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. You need a 2 and a 6. Well, with this 6, that's got to be a 2. That's got to be your 6. And now you want to focus on the heavy houses and the places where you see the restrictions and the marks. You just displace a 9, so you can solve this cell for a 9 now. And do we have all the 9s knocked out? We sure do. And so now you can look here and go, okay, just need a 2 and a 3 right here. Since this is a 2, that's a 3, that's a 2, that's a 3. And I'm going to give you a bonus tip. You want to save a little bit more time here? Look at this 3. You know that has to be a 2 now. So you can solve that for the 2. Because it has to be the opposite of this right here. Awesome. So you're going to save yourself quite a bit of time by seeing that. And now where do we go? Look here with this 6, displace that for 6. That's got to be your 6, that's got to be your 7. And then we solve all the 7s. And now look at the 6s with this 6. That's got to be a 6 right there. And with this 6, got a 6 right here. And you can solve this cell now for a 6. Got a 2 and a 5 right here. Means now you can solve this for the remaining digit. That's got to be a 3. I just solve for 3 there, and 8 right there. Displace this 8. Solve this cell now for an 8. With this 2, that's got to be your 2. That's got to be your 4. Put the 4 right there, and you can solve this for a 3 now. Keep on solving. You got a full house in column 7. Only digit remaining is a 2, and that's a 3 to finish block 6. Follow these 3s. You got 2 3s there and 2s with this 2. That's your 2, that's your 3. With these 3s and this 3, you solve this for 3, displace that 4. And you got a 3 in the corner, bum, bum, bum. With this 2, there's your 2, leaving a 5 in block 7. Come up here, no 5 in block 4, so that's got to be your 5, and that's going to be your 4. And then with this 2, you can solve this for 2, and our last digit is a 5. Now see if you can determine the setter's intent in this next video. Thank you so much for watching.